Oh, welcome to review on this other channel, episode 21. And we're going to continue the series here since it won't affect the view counts on the other channel, which is the main channel. Anyway, I fucked up and I left it on linear for like the last 4 unboxings I did. So I hope everyone appreciates it and that wallpaper which you can download. So, if you're only subscribed to this channel and you've never seen a full review and you never know what a review is, I'm going over my old reviews and telling you if any of the old things I reviewed are still worth looking at now being 2022. So I think I ended last episode 20, on the GS1000s, effing grade O's, and we're skipping a yard sale video. Although, you know what? Patreon yard sale number 2, only the second yard sale 4 years ago. God bless yard sales. They keep my house from getting too cluttered with audio crap, and they put money towards my mortgage, which back then was putting money towards the down payment for my mortgage. But LCD4s, so let's... That was big money. That was huge money back in the day. 4 years ago, that was definitely the most expensive thing I've reviewed. Was it that long ago? It doesn't feel like I reviewed them that long ago, but I think I was jaded enough at the time to go, no. Oh, God. It's happening again. Every time I start a review, I just start yawning. Didn't yawn for like the past 7 hours, but now yawn. So, LCD4s were too heavy, too expensive, and their sound signature was, while detailed, it felt like putting like a V10 F1 engine in your Honda Civic. Because it's the best, obviously. No, there was no balance to it. It just crammed shit. It was just fuck. It was so much fuck. It was like, we're $4,000. You have to like us. And I didn't. Like, if you put them on the table with a bunch of other cheaper headphones, I would have been like, I don't want to listen. It doesn't matter how expensive something is. I have to still want to listen to it. I'm not drinking liquor. It's water. Relax. Probably going to need a lot of that anyway. Yeah, and LCD4s, there's that new thinner one that's much lighter. I forget what the denomination is, the number of it is, but I have the LCD5s in my basement. And it's just slightly better than the 4s from my memory. And I'm not ruining the review, because I still have to make that review and I have to actually sit down with like the full intent of understanding it. But Poor Man's HE1000s, Hifiman Edition X. So Edition X means drop, I believe. Right, was it drop? Did drop sell the Edition X? And it's the first time this big cup design was actually affordable. That they were under $1,000. I don't think they were like in the $600 range. But they were affordable, and they're still a huge planar. And my argument was, you can't really make a headphone that big with the same driver technology sound worse. Because when you make the best version of something, and then you decide to make a cheaper entry-level version of it, what do? You change the materials, you change the processes, but you're still left with the overall design. So really, if it lost 10%, but $3,000 in cost, which one do you think I'm going to recommend you? Exactly. Forte 3s. You can actually get those for a bargain right now. I have the Forte 4s in my sunroom over there, and I love them to death. Same exact design. It's tweeter. It's horn, 12-inch, and then 15 on the back, which is just a passive radiator. And the new ones are horn, 12-inch, and 15 on the back. But it feels like they designed the new ones with a computer, and the old ones they sort of tuned by ear as like 60-year-old men with resistors. So I like those a lot. I mean, they were so big and they were so loud. But these new ones are like actually astonishingly clear. Like they've redesigned the waveguide on the tweeter. They've redesigned the crossover. And you can hear that they're just, the Forte 4s I'm talking about are perfect, giant. I kept them in the room. I'm like, these are mine now. Goodbye. They literally got up here, sat, that's it, they're done. I never want to put another speaker in that room. The Forte 3s you can get for a lot less than the 4s. They feel like more like an old school Klipsch sound. If you like Klipsch shit from the 80s, you'll probably like the 3s more than the 4s. If you like modern good speakers that are like, corrected and they measure them, and like, you'll probably like the 4s more than the 3s. I'm a 4 fan over a 3 fan. So I'm so glad I sent those back. I would have had no room in my whole house. Jamo C9, dark apple cuties. Didn't I call those? Oh, no. Those 93s were the Emma Watson speakers. Yeah, the Jamo C91s with a little tiny version with the 4-inch little tiny driver, so small. And they did great. Jamo still makes great speakers. Jamo is owned by Klipsch, or Klipsch is owned by Jamo, or both of them are owned by the parent company, which is whomever that is. I'm sure someone's writing in the comments. And so the Jamo is to Klipsch, I think, like Acura is to Honda. Because Honda and Acura are the same brand. There's just one is the luxury one. But then Jamo goes cheaper too. Jamo has like the C803s, which is like they're like $170 speaker. That's amazing. And then they have like the more expensive ones, like the 103s was like $1,400. So I don't know. They both have too wide a range. Klipsch has cheap, too expensive, and I think Jamo actually has a bigger price range. But then Jamo doesn't have. Oh my god, sorry. Like the super high end brand, like stuff, like the Klipsch horns and stuff. So it's weird. I love Jamo as a company. Jamo, Jamo, Jamo. It's Jamo. But yeah, I would absolutely. The new versions of the Concert 2s, because these are 4 years ago. The new ones are also called the C's, but they're the C91 2s. It's very fucking confusing. You can't even get the original ones. But if you could, I would say yes, get them. Oh my god, my original Synology thing. They sent me that. Synology was like, hey, we are sponsored by Seagate. We want to send you a 5-disc Synology NAS filled with hard drives. Because it wasn't filled with hard drives. Couldn't afford to fill it with hard drives. So I ended up getting it, making like a 4-part series on the unboxing channel, which is my original channel, just my channel. And then doing this review, which is 32 minutes long. And then a year later, I bought the actual add-on, and I bought all the hard drives for it because I just ran out of space in that thing. And so I have it sitting in my basement right now. I'm not being used. I wanted to use it for Chia mining, but Chia is like no one. Oh, fuck, I hate crypto and everything that crypto represents. I hate it all. At least Chia is the most fuel efficient way to do it, because you just make it and then it sits there. You don't have to constantly fucking rehash the fucking hashes. So, I mean, I don't know how I got into crypto from that, but that's how you got into crypto from that. So Synology was good stuff. I like my Unraid probably a little better, mostly because I built it myself, and it always feels better when you build something. KEF Q100s. To this moment, not a prettier near-field speaker exists. And that's what I loved about those. Those were a coaxial sex monitor. I'm pretty sure because I have the word sex in it, it's no longer being monetized. In fact, just saying that on this video might get this video demonetized, because YouTube and their algorithm is a fucking mystery to everyone. Those are in my basement. I'll never sell them. They were better looking than the new models, like the new Q150s and 350s. Don't look as good as that. They don't come with the wood and then the black face and the silver. Like, they were just perfect. That front port, the new ones are rear ported and just a centered speaker. This one actually was, love those fucking speakers. Wish they still sold those speakers. I was kind of disappointed in the new series just because they didn't look as good. These are like classic, like, they sat up the front port, everything worked on them. And the new ones are like good, probably better driver, but it was centered, which meant you had to put the speakers up higher. I love the Q100s. If you have them, own up to them, baby. You love them. Sound demo. The Mayflower Arc, the original Arc, and I released it on the night it came out, was unique for, well, Mayflower makes mods. They haven't grown quite as much as other mod houses, like Mod House, or like they feel like they're in the same thing as like JDS Labs and Geshelli, where they're like an American company making, like, they were making modified O2s and things way back in the day. But was the audio return channel? No. You could plug in a thing with a microphone and it would go through the unit and to the back, which meant you could use it as a DAC amp and not get that weird ground separation you get when you plug a microphone into your computer and the headset into something else. So that was its thing. And they still make it. They're making an Arc, and there's an Arc 2 Mini. So there's still reason to like look at that stuff. But not that one, not the old one. Aperion 5B. The little black bastards. I don't remember a fucking thing about these. I don't remember I read them. This is the first time I'm seeing this video in 4 years. And I've had other Aperion stuff. Aperion sent me those super tweeters, which we'll get to when I get to within the last year. I don't remember the 5Bs. What was the I don't. I have no clue. I'm gonna go. I'd have to go watch that video. Huh. They must have not left a lasting impression. Or I had a short time with them. Maybe they wanted like to review them in like a week. So I had them, set them up, used them, reviewed, and then just completely forgot about it. So a lot of time reviews, I'll just let them sit. Because the less I concern myself with it, the more it's just part of my life, and I use them, and then like, oh, and then I find the real love and joy, and then we'll move on. The Wharfedale Dentons. These I remember, because those were expensive as shit, and I believe these were the ones I said should have been spa speakers. I think they remind me of it. They had a weird design. Was it the Wharfedale Dentons? You know what? At least I remember reviewing them. I don't remember the Aperions, but I remember the Wharfedale Dentons. And I either said, these are very, very chill fucking speakers. Like they just sort of like wash everything with like a relaxed note. Or indifferent. I didn't write anything special in the title of it. Like, oh, greatest speakers ever. What's the time? 18 minutes on that, 23 minutes on that. Usually if I spend more time on something, I like it more. So that just goes to show. Yard sale for October 2017. All right, the Focal Elears. The problem with Focal and re-reviewing Focal is every headphone they've made is out for like 2 years and then they don't sell anymore. I don't think you can get the Elears anymore. Like the Clear MGs are out, but I'm pretty sure in like 6 months those won't be out. So, and then the Elex. The Elex came out that were the much cheaper version of the French tank. And I like the Elex more than that. So I wouldn't get those. I'd still get the Elex, which are currently still sold. And if you told me what those sounded like, I'd be like the Elex. That's all I remember. Like, I transferred that review in my brain from, okay, that's that unit to, okay, no. Now it's the Elex. I don't have to worry about those anymore. Gone. Emotiva B1. Not quite Air Motive 5s. This was Emotiva's first passive speaker. Like, I think maybe the first speaker they've ever had passively. But they were trying to get into the home theater game, and even though they made processors that you could have used self-powered monitors, they needed passive speakers. And they were okay. No, I'm sorry. What am I talking about? The Emotiva had passive speakers way back in the day. But this was the first one that used the AMT tweeters, but they were using their self-powered monitors at the time. And they were okay. I'm just going to give them okay. I had no urge to like keep them around. I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with these. They made them in a couple cool configurations. What really lacked was that the big Emotivas used the big Emotiva AMT, and that was special when that shit came out. Magni Amps. Look, it's the 4 years ago I was reviewing the Magni 2, the Magni 2U, and the Magni 3. What the fuck was the 2U? 2 upgraded? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not. You're never going to concern yourself with this because just like the other things I've talked about, you can't buy any of those right now. Well, I think you can still buy the Magni 3, but it's a completely different amp from 4 years ago. Like you go to shit.com, you look up Magni. There's 2. No, there should be 3. There should be the Heresy, which is basically the same amp. Then there's the Magni 3 Plus, which is the current revision, and then there's the IEM Magni, which is the one that has a special low gain switch. So none of those exist anymore, and they've improved them constantly, so you wouldn't even worry about that. You'd buy a new one. The Fostex HP-A4BL. I reviewed that 4 years ago. I wrote the word sex in it, so I'm sure it doesn't count any money anymore. I love that thing. It was so simple and yet weak. There's nothing inside of it. It's just one board. There's not even capacitors that come off it. I love that thing so much. I borrowed it from someone and sent it back, and then someone was selling it, and I bought it, and it's in use in my sunroom right now. My sunroom has that unit sitting on the table next to it, and right next to the little sofa in there. Got the TV hooked up, got the big Klipsch Forte 4s. Actually, 2 of the things I have in that room are in this video. Big Forte 4s, and then there's a fiber optic cable that comes and feeds that Japanese-made headphone balanced amp. And I use it to run, there's a single JBL studio monitor there, 305. And I just have it set to the line out. And when people are talking in Discord or Ventrilo, they just come out of that speaker, and this controls the volume right there. Or if we're going to have a long conversation, I got the microphone there. The microphone stand sits on top of that. They're not currently here because they're over there. I have the Sennheiser HD 8XX with the Dakoni pads plugged into that. It runs them fine. And sometimes I'll watch TV with headphones on. It's like a 1% thing, because why the fuck would I when I own this house and I don't have like kids that I'm bothering or something? So, but that amp means a lot to me. There's something about a Fostex Japanese-made amplifier that is just so fucking dirt simple. And it just has the button. It was the first one with the button that was like line out in the back or pre-out in the back, headphone. Pre out in the back, headphone. And everything's so small. It's like designed for Japanese living, and I fucking love that thing. That might have been the first amp that actually had a sound to it that I could actually grasp. Like it wasn't just amp does good power. This had low power. But everything I plugged into it, I wanted to hear more. That might be the birth of it, the birthplace of it. Oh, when the Schiit 9500s went to the 9500S because Philips sold them to Marshall, and Marshall was making them, and I reviewed them, and I honestly don't remember. I just hit the camera instead of scratching my head. I honestly don't remember what the difference was. I know there was a slight difference, but it wasn't like big enough to concern myself, so I moved the fuck on. The Audio God or Audio GD R2R11. I think I still have that in the basement. I don't pull it out ever, and I don't think I'd ever sell it. I kind of want to, I'd give it to like a family member or something, because Audio God products are just so absurd internally. They're just butch internally. Like absolutely absurdly overcomplicated to get the same sound quality you would have a cheaper amp, but they obsess over it, and I could taste the obsession in it. And it felt like it was made by, like, I haven't gotten anything. They had a set of monoblocks. They were like $11,000 or $8,000, but they were only available in 220. I would have loved to have talked that company to send me that. This was sent to me by like a French distributor, and I linked to a French website in the video. That's interesting. Micca OriGen G2, now with actually working technology. So Micca OriGen came out years ago. Before this, so 5 years probably. 4 years ago was the OriGen G2, which I think is still the current OriGen, that the maximum story. Quick story about Micca OriGen. DAC amp, right? Little tiny DAC amp, little volume knob on top. Super weird. Rebranded from another company that you could look up. I forget the name of that one, but there was like the silver version. Probably the most recommended thing on my channel at that time. Or is it G2 Plus come out? Click on, it's a DAC. It takes fiber optic in. It had fiber optic out from the USB. For the longest time, that thing was the main hub on my review desk, because I USB'd from the laptop, then I fiber optic out to a splitter to all my DACs, and then the actual volume knob controlled the analog output of the headphone jack, which are the VU meters, so I could adjust the VU. And it sounded good. And I remember running the LCD-X on that and making that like a big deal. Like, not only does the LCD-X work great on everything, but this Micca OriGen G2 just makes it sound great on that. I want like a 2022 version of that. I don't know why I want that. I want a balanced version. Give me 3.5 millimeter and a 4.4 Pentacon, and everything else keep the same. Or give me a 4.4 balanced output on the back, and then still give me like USB-C in instead of USB. Just upgrade it. Just give me all the new plugs. And I still fucking recommend that as one of the best DAC amps, because I just love the weird box form factor. It just fit. It just fit. Monoprice Retros, $30 headphone that I recommend everyone buy $30 pads for, which made them everyone weird. Still have them. Sorry, my nose is clogged. I modified mine to have a balanced plug connector, and then the solder joint broke, and I never got around to fixing it. And that was like a year after I modded them, because they're just big, wide bass monsters. And you can still get them. Monoprice Retros are still a get item, but they have an attached cable if you don't make a mod, and they have shit pads, like absolute garbage. Like, you can't use them with stock pads even for like a week. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't buy those unless you could spend $65, $70 on it with pads, and then know that you're gonna get a fucking long ass shitty cable. And I mean, it's $30, but now you're spending $60. So that 60 is near enough to 80 that you might as well just get like what's the best under $100 close back? It's been a while. Zeos doesn't remember. Okay, I just did that. What the fuck? the Audeze headphone, which was a clone of that, which was a clone of the M&O. So everything leads back to the RBH HP-2s and beryllium driver. And I just did the new Blonde B60, which is a beryllium driver closeback. And it's as good as I remember those being, and the M&Os are as good as I remember those being, and the Audeze were as good as I remember those being. Those things are fucking amazing. 25,000 views is not nearly enough. I feel like of all the headphones that get like a short stick here, Takstar Pro 82s is next. Comfort Kings. Everyone loved the Takstars. Everyone fucking, the most kind of 100,000 views. Why didn't that get 100,000 views? Why did they get a quarter of the views? Because people heard of the Pro 82s? They should have heard of the RBH while they were still available. Or you know what probably happened? In all likelihood, the RBH HP-2s sold out 4 years ago and 10 days later and were never heard from again. I haven't even heard of the speakers anymore because there's RBH speakers that are amazing too. Just gone. Just fucking gone. Takstar Pro 82s. These are not gone. These, to this moment, probably still one of the most comfortable headphones on earth. That benchmark was set. That line was drawn in the sand 4 years ago. They had those switches that could change the bass tuning, which I was like, that's kind of cool. But really, all the way open was too much bass. All the way closed was too little bass. So you had basically one setting that you would leave it on. Detachable cable, which was a weird 2.5 millimeter. But man, they weren't like they floated over yours either. They touched yours, but everything about the shape and size and pressure was perfect. And they sounded good when you picked the actual middle bass thing. And then we're going to get to it probably next year, 3 years ago. Cooler Master MH751 or 2, depending on if you got the model with the extra cable, was just a rebrand of those without the switch. Just as comfortable and better looking. So, but it had another weird cable? No, it might have had a straight 3.5 millimeter. Whatever. Pro 82 is fucking legend. RBH should have been legend, but there wasn't enough. And now we've got torches. Did I seriously call it torches? Was I going for the British fucking thing? What the hell is that? I did $60 flashlights. Anchor sent me a flashlight, and then I bought 2 more. And I ended up keeping one. I have that one, which is the Night Core, I think. Or is that the Night Core? Anyway, go look up my $60 flashlight showdown. 10,000 views. Yeah, no one wanted to see me review flashlights. I still did it. I did another one recently. The Olight. I spent like $130 on a flashlight. If I spend $130 on something, I'm reviewing it for content. I got to go review my goddamn hand dryer. I bought a Dyson hand dryer. That shit was money, but I'm like, this is it. I'm fulfilling this dream of mine this Christmas. Fuck COVID. And so I'll have to review a hand dryer at some point on the main channel. This might be the first Geshelli Labs product ever. 4 years ago, 21,000 views. Just called DAC. Enog DAC. When they had it in that clear case, it was just a clear case. There was no aluminum. And it just was in and out on both sides. And there was a project box. They make, and you can't buy a lot. Geshelli Labs is probably the worst one of these, where they make a product and all of a sudden it's gone and it's replaced. So like you can't find the original. No one has those. If you find one of those, pay $500 for it, just to have the nostalgia of it. I have an amp that's made of mirrors. I didn't make any of those. I'm the only one with it. Geshelli Labs now, though, is there a wood stack up here? They brought their wood stack downstairs. The new wood stuff, I've got like a tiger stripe one, JNOG 2. Arco 2.5 Pro or something. So they're actually, they change and move so much. I mean, 4 years. I can't believe it's only been 4 years. Feels like I've known them for 10 years and they've grown. They've done a lot of shit in 4 years. But yeah, no, Geshelli Labs. I guess just I'm linking to Geshelli Labs on the description. By the way, links to the ones of these that still count in the description, the ones that still matter, the ones I think you might still be able to buy, or an alternative, or nothing. If I go past something and I'm just like, nah, then we just go past it as nothing. But yeah, Geshelli Labs. I think, all right, we'll end on this. This will be the last thing we talk about. Since we've talked about the sunroom now twice, because I have the Klipsch Fortes in there, and I've got the Fostex in there, the Mackie MR624s are a self-powered set of monitors that, to this moment, hold a very unique skill. They can play very quietly, perfectly. And when I first moved into this house, and I first said, I don't know what I'm doing in that room. What's this room with the sun in it? I don't know. What do I do? And then I took my extra 43-inch television, and I chucked it in that room, and I needed speakers to go next to the television because I'm not using television speakers. Those were my first choice. Because I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to watch TV at night. Maybe I don't want to blast it. I know better now. I'm going to blast it regardless. But I put those up on speaker stands, and they played beautifully. And I forgot how good they were, how much low end they threw out. They were just cream. No one who has Mackie MR624s that I've recommended and they've gotten them dislikes them. If you dislike Mackie MR624s, say so in the comments. And then tell me why you're wrong. Like LSR's 305s, but better. It's true. It's hashtag true. They do the best. They just could play. If you can't blast your shit, if you're in college in a dorm, and they make a 5-inch version, but I haven't reviewed it, so I'm not going to say the same thing happens. But if you just set up a computer in a school, and you know you got speakers in your desk, and your roommates are going to get annoyed by it, and you lower your speakers, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I can't really enjoy it. Those would still be enjoyable at quiet volumes. I don't know how it does it. Some weird shit with the horn. But those were actually in that room only until very recently, the last 4 or 5 months. When Chewbacca was getting sick and she was peeing on the floor, she would jump up on those. I had those face to face in that room next to the couch behind the little end table. And she would walk up and use them as stairs because I stopped using them for the TV. But I never took them out of the room because I'm like, well, if I stop using whatever speakers I'm using, I'll put the Mackies back because I like the Mackies so much. But eventually I'm like, all right, the Fortes are here. Mackies aren't going to stay. Chewbacca keeps dripping pee on them as she jumps up. Put a stool there instead of those. Brought those down the basement. I love the Mackie MR624s. I really do. I really do. And I got the Mackie sub, and I really want more Mackie stuff. Now, the new Mackie is sort of like the fluids, like the FX80s, like the big coaxials. Like I have those set up on my desk, and it's like these. They don't do the quiet thing, though. They have a lot of other things going for them, but not that. Not that one. If you can cut out one niche feature, you can make it in this world. And their feature was when you drop that volume to like 20%, 18%, 16%, they sound better than every other speaker at 18%. Fuck you is what they say. Oh, and the green power LEDs. Sold on the green. That wallpaper in the description. We'll pick up next time on the KEF LS50s, which is a big one. That's a big one, motherfucker. Big one. But yeah, get her. I haven't seen any Fate, but I know she's from Fate. I know she got bitchy face and everyone loves it. It's probably not the best face of hers. I've seen her with a much cuter face. But yeah, grab that. Links to things that actually still matter in the description. And links to the playlist. Oh, look at that blue. Can you see the blue? Something happened that made like a blue blotch happen on my screen. I'm super sad. But yeah, links to everything that you need to get. Links to links to links. And Patreon and Subscribe Stars, see reviews early, not these. I participate in yard sales, which I've sold a lot of that stuff in yard sales. And then get into the sound demo Oasis, where you can get to old sound demos that have disappeared or get lossless versions of modern sound demos. $10 a month puts you in the private behind the scenes Telegram chat where you can ask me any questions you want. Somebody came in there like today and was like, hey, I like music and I have $7,000. And I'm like, okay, stop. Don't spend that much money on audio. And I basically convinced him to spend about $1,000 of that $7,000 budget on like a set of Harmonic Dyne Zeus. And I think I said the IFI Neo IDSD. Because this way he has a balanced DAC to push out to another amp if he needs it. And you gotta forget, the two headphones he had, nothing was gonna be as good as the fucking Zeus. So get the taste for it. You don't just run into a supermarket, buy everything. You figure out what you like and don't like over a period of time. So yeah, if you want that sort of like life advice on how to spend $7,000, the $10 chat's where it's at. You also get into a swap meet channel. So if he hates everything that I recommended to him, he could sell it to other people who are in the swap meet channel, which you get into when you're in the $10 chat. And I'm done. And the sun hasn't even gone down. It feels like I've accomplished something. I can speak. I still got the little bit of the COVID snots. Snots 19. But I was able to like get through this without like sucking on tea and honey. So that's good. I'm going to go down my basement and play around some shit. And I'll see you all in the next review, which I could just film like 30 of these in a row. You'll never know. Just watch the sun slow go down over a period of 2 months. But yeah, good. I get to change the wallpaper again.